allow the children to have the budget every year.
It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. Off your mind.
Like me.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you ladder, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my yegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my yegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my yegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo. My yegun don't come, oh, yo. My people make you shout, oh, yo. My yegun don't come, oh, yo. Man of the masses, my ego don't come, my ego diary politico, my ego don't come, this man not the off in mind, my ego don't come.
Hello there.
Happy
Sunday to you. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun Live. And this is Sunday Sermon for the month of August. Share the broadcast.
Glory Facebook, glory YouTube, Mayegun Diary. Get
well, bro, right? Innocent Obi, you will be fine. Sunday Sermon is the no holds bar session on Mayegun's Diary Politico. And it is the session whereby, I usually advise the people who are like usually politically correct people who want to be politically correct. Like, for instance, those who are almost mindful of the language used, those who feel like, oh, you could still deliver your message without insulting anybody, those who find insults more kind of important to them than, the actual crime and the criminals. So on Sunday sermon, I usually advise them not to join. Don't watch this program if you are easily triggered with the word respect or disrespect, insult, or whatever other things you might want to have in mind. being politically correct, don't join us on Sunday sermon. And you can still share the broadcast anyway.
And yes, we like. Oh, Baba, and yes, we like.
Good morning to you in America. Those of you who are just waking up today, right? And good afternoon to you all over Europe and Nigeria and parts of Africa. I'll say, share the broadcast.
And yes, we like. And yes, we like.
Elections have consequences, and it cut across board. Yeah. One other thing I think I might have left out in the caveats I just read to you earlier, just kind of, relate to you, which has to do with if you are somebody who is very, very easily triggered, politically correct person, somebody who values respect so much that you will respect even criminals, okay? Those of you who value, or those of you who are like an ethnic jingoist, who love the supremacy of one tribe over the other, or one ethnic over the other. And most importantly, those of you who are religious, kind of fanatics, that's what I'll call you anyway. I mean, like those of you who value your religion so much that anything that sounded like an insult to you is an insult to your God, is an insult to your religion. Please don't watch this broadcast. Don't join us, because on Sunday sermon, right, I can be going from A to Z, from Z back to Y, from Y again back to M. I could be going from one to another, and it just depends on how the Rawaniyas bring death to me. You know the Rawaniyas, the universe, the spirit, as the spirit directs. And if I have to speak, I will speak my own truth. And if it's going to offend you because of your religion, which is not indeed intended, I advise, don't watch this video. You can join us later tonight.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin òwò ayé ẹ̀sùnra yìí òwúrọ̀ olóṣèlú ayé ẹ̀sùnra yìí ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùnra yìí ayé ẹ̀sùnra yìí.
So, good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Sunday Sermon on Mayegun's Diary. And Sunday Sermon is easily delivered when my listeners are in tune with the scenarios that I'm going to be painting. In the course of this broadcast, you are going to find yourselves, or the story that is so relative to your life, being pictured here, being painted here, enough for you to, at a point, right, connect with all these happenings. I'm talking about the political happenings, decisions, policies, and all of them that actually have direct impact on you. And it doesn't matter where you belong. It doesn't matter which God you serve. It doesn't matter which class you belong to. Political policies affect everyone, including the rich. They might have a buffer. They might have buffers to kind of, keep them through all of the, some things that actually will take your life, right? But everybody is going to be affected. Now, while I'm saying all of this, I'm going to be, one thing about Nigeria is this. Everybody knows about Nigeria problem. Sure, we are all experts when it comes to Nigeria problem. Just have a chance with one Nigerian and let them tell you about Nigeria problem. We are all experts. Then when you talk about this solution as well, Oh dear. We are also experts too. But one thing we are not experts in is actual carrying out the solution. No, at that point, there are some certain things that will come in. Irrelevant mostly, but they are so important to the people. Ethnic or tribe, or your religion would then have to make people decide if your solution is acceptable to them or not. Not because it's not kind of a one size or two size or three sizes fits. You have a fixed all solution. Or at that point, that your solution will come under critical scrutiny, not for any intelligent reasons, but for religion, tribe, ethnic reasons. And at that point, once that creeps in, what happens next? All those solutions won't really matter anymore. They will be watered down based on that. And fine, that has kind of sustained the establishment in Nigeria for a while. And because Nigerians, like I said, we know the problems. Sometimes we kind of know all the people behind the problems. That too is a problem on its own, because the situation of tribe ethnic religion has played a very big role in shielding these criminals, because in most cases, everyone wants to protect their own criminal. Everybody wants to protect their own clansman. They want to protect their own, brethren in the Lord. They want to protect their own umla or umrah. And all of that ended up sort of enabling the entire characters behind this, and sustained the brutality that every Nigerian has experienced and became an expert or near expert in what it feels like to have bad leadership. But how do you tackle bad leadership if you are still kind of, in a way, attached to your religion sentiment, tribal sentiment? If a thief is caught, his own tribesmen of people from his region will tell you, is it the only person that will first steal? What happened to that one that stole the other day? Have you done anything? Oh, is it because he's a Fulani? That's why you didn't do anything. So it's because this one is Yoruba Abi? Is it because this one is Igbo Abi? Oh, because he's not from the powerful, you know what I mean? Like, people always kind of come around and say, well, you know what? So, unfortunately, that has brought Nigeria to one sorry conclusion: a failed country. So nobody is spared. And that is why when you join Mayegun's Diary Political on Sunday sermon, if you have the liver to take it in without having to take it too personal, you are welcome to take it personal, okay? Like, I've seen people here who have turned around, and they blamed me for whatever is going on in Nigeria. I know I'm not the only person they say that to. I mean, some of you have been said same thing too. When you express yourselves, against it, when you express your disgust against how they are running Nigeria, they will come to you and say, shut up your mouth. Why don't you come back home? Why don't you come back here and say what you are saying? If it is you, would you do anything different? And the rest of that, to the point that they're like, you are the problems of this country. All of you who always wanted to cause problem, you are the problem. They've said that to me many times. The same people who are victims of the bad leadership in Nigeria turned around, lily-livered cowards, turned around, and they have started pointing fingers at anything on sight They blamed them. These guys blamed God. They blamed weather. They blamed just anything blamable except themselves and the choices they made. Life is about choices. If you have a chance of actually, or if you have an opportunity of having choices, but nevertheless, right, no matter how stifled or how limited opportunities are in this space called Earth, including as it is in Nigeria, the land of limited opportunities where people are living in squalor in the midst of plenty, you will still have choices. You know why I believe that is that, I mean, for those of you who are younger people watching me right now, okay, listen to me. Time goes so fast than you can imagine. Nigeria will steal your youth from you. You will grow, you will age, without you knowing. And millions upon millions of your like, including myself, had our youth stolen by Nigeria through the criminal policies of all these chancers, opportunists that you call leaders from every part of Nigeria. They're already doing the same thing to you right now, watching me. Everything they told you about Nigeria is a pure lie. Do you understand? Lie. Some of them you've believed, and some of you have kind of, you are already living that lie by believing that you are defending something kind of worth defending. You will discover later when your adult, when your youth is completely stolen from you, and before you know it, you are that aged 45-year-old young man or old woman. Then you will realize that you've been lied to, and everything that you could have used for your own productive time, the productive time of your life that you could have used to better your life, have been stolen from you on absurdity like this, on criminals that so many are afraid to call out because they are from their tribe. They are from their ethnic nationality. Oh, they are from the same religion like them. So listen to me. If you have a standing chance, a fighting chance, they call it, it is to first of all, right, to begin to detach from such belief that you have something to defend, especially things told you by these criminals. People love to mention the problems, remember? But they don't like mentioning the criminals behind the problems. I do. In the course of mentioning those behind the problems, right, I would end up, not just mentioning the politicians, including their friends and your pastor and your imam and your kings, royal fathers here and there. Do you understand? These are going to go against what you were told. You were told to respect elders, remember? You were told because you want to grow successfully in life. So you need to respect elders. You need to watch your mouth. You need to obey the guidelines and rules and then learn the rope until you yourself will grow old and do the same thing. That's what they told you, right? Or they are telling you right now, right? Well, I have a news for you. They are lying to you. And I'll tell you, and I'll explain that to you. You see, these criminals, number one, they are not in any way, they don't have any allegiance to anybody or themselves. They don't have allegiance to any religion. They don't have allegiance to any region, even though they came from all these regions themselves, Abi. They don't have any respect for any age, creed, or what have you. They have none. But they tell you that culturally, right, even if you see them doing something bad, right, you just have to keep your mouth shut. But what they are not telling you is that, you see those bad things they are doing, that they are telling you not to disrespect them, to show some respect. They are bad things that have to do with your life, your future, your existence. They broke your uncles, they broke your parents. They are in the process of breaking you. It all started from your cradle, from when you were born. The conditioning that they are putting in here and there through the, whether na ilekeu they send you, whether na church they send you, all this conditioning lead to one thing. They say, Olori la nforifun, you have to respect your elders, even when they are doing something bad, right? So as a young person, you have limited time. And that limited time is what they are stealing from you. That limited time is what they are already gambling away. And you have every right to reject that, not just speak out. You have every right to reject it. And what am I talking about? Policies. You know, one thing they say about countries with a youthful population, they said they are those who have, they have the gold mine. Nigeria population of over 200 million, plus or minus, true or false, whatever, has over 70% young people. People between the ages of 30 down to 0. So that means 2/3 of Nigeria population needs real, what do you call it? The real sort of a preparation, education, and real investment. Not for now, but for the future of Nigeria. Right? So that responsibility lies solely on those who parade themselves as the leaders of Nigeria. The ones, those entitled bollocks, those entitled CUNT. Those guys have responsibility to you, but they don't give a damn. They don't. Today, you can see how that demography that should have been a gold mine is now the breeding ground. Where you have poverty so widespread. It is now the breeding ground for those recruiting for terrorists, for those recruiting for other criminal organizations, and for those recruiting for human trafficking. Those they are actually like, you are the most affected. And yet, the older generation that are doing this to you are telling you that if you want to grow old, you must respect them and keep your mouth shut. And every angle you turn to, you are scared to death. What will be your lot if you therefore challenge this norm? Here you get. Bible said you have to respect your mother and your father. Is that not what it says? Even if they are doing horrible things and contributing horrible things that are destroying people's lives, you have to respect them, or else your day on earth will be short. Abi, criminals who are using these quotes from Bible, from Quran, they are not stupid. They know that, right? The conditioning of making you feel like, even if you see it as bad, sometimes or all the time, when you see the people involved, just kind of, keep your mouth shut in a way, or else you are just bringing a curse upon yourself. So you are conditioned gradually. And when the reality sets in, which is the real life, right? You are seeing everyday thieves being given red carpet into your seminaries, into your holy places, worship places. You are seeing them. And somebody is telling you that you have no right to judge them. You have no right to question them, especially if you remember what this, and that said in the Bible and in the Quran. Condition, that's what I'm saying, But in that same real life, their policies are pushing you to poverty. Children that are supposed to get standard, proper education, so that when it is time, they can give back to that country in the areas of science, areas of engineering exploits, areas of art, or healthcare, name it. Those who are supposed to be the real gold mine of Nigeria, these elderly people, as you will call them, that deserve respect, they bungled their future. A lot of them ended up as out-of-school children, no education, or were poor education, or miseducation. At the end of the day, you have army of unemployed and unemployable Nigerians. Productivity-wise, nothing to expect. So you now have that generation that is now, after ruining and destroying the same country for you. Somebody once told me that why would this criminal, even for any reason, demand for respect from this generation? They call us lazy generation. But ladies and gentlemen, until 1990, when Babangida stopped some of these unity schools and the students then stopped them from being served 2 chickens, are you with me, for their lunch in school. They protested across Nigeria that military government stopped serving chicken, 2 chicken in their meal. So they had meal, they had lunch. This was the generation, yeah, that before they finished their own secondary school back then, they walk out of secondary school, they walk straight into jobs. This was a generation that, whenever they felt, even though their parents could be called poor, but they were still mid in the sense that this was generation that when their own parents felt like they should go abroad, this was a generation that only had to go and get a passport, buy the air ticket, no visa, and they traveled the world. The same generation that have now left us with nothing, with absolute nothing, is demanding respect from us while we watch them squander. What should have been our general patrimony? Do you know where I'm going with this? No, you don't. Okay. You can see I'm pretty much like giving you reasons why those who lied to you, that either you are lazy, whether they call you lazy, or whatever other things they call you. This is coming from the generation that had almost everything handed to them. Almost everything. I'm not saying everything, no. Almost everything. And the generation that has left us with nothing but indebtedness and poverty. So you as a young person, whatever lie they told you, when you had a chance to reflect and look around and see the characters that have been more or less like recurrent decimal. Recurrent decimal. You remember that recurrent decimal? The decimal that always kind of reoccur. You know, don't trouble me for further explanation. You shall know, sir. They keep reoccurring and reoccurring. Some of you call them recycling. The same characters that have contributed to everything Nigeria is currently experiencing. Repeated the same lie again and again. You had a choice. And some of you picked up arms. You picked up everything you could get. And you went after those who want you. Those who wanted them gone. You said they had no experience, didn't you? Those who have done you nothing. You said they were more dangerous than those who are milking you and rubbing it all over your face. You did not just intended to kill. You actually killed people for them. 73 people murdered for 2023 election. For what? So that you can come and suffer this suffering you are facing right now. So that you can turn around and look for who to blame. So you can turn around and blame other people and say the enemies of Nigeria, this is why you are facing this. It's almost the same question I keep asking. I was asking people when the genocidal war of 1967 to 1970. Hang on. A country that shouldn't even be together. Nigeria shouldn't be a country. Nigeria shouldn't exist. But it exists. Or should I say it existed and still existing because of its commercial viability, which is actually running out, by the way. The commercial return that the existence of Nigeria gives to the owners of Nigeria and their friends. A lot of you will agree with me that if there is a generation that probably will say Nigeria once walked, that generation is not mine. It's not yours. Majority of you watching me right now, the generation that will say Nigeria once walked. It never worked as Nigeria. The only time Nigeria worked was when Nigeria was a regional system of government where everyone was doing their own thing, their own way. Those were the era that significant real thing, human capital development really existed. Since then, it has been transactional. You know that. So when the Biafrans said they were leaving, you know what happened? They were killing Igbos in northern Nigeria as far back as 1944. One of the reasons why even the colonial masters themselves, they never created Nigeria as one country. No. In that part of northern Nigeria then, all they needed was just any excuse to start murdering, slaughtering, whether you are Christian or you are Igbo. Being Igbo is actually like a license to be killed. It existed though. Horrible killing in Kano, 1944. So by 1967, after the coup of 1966, it was obvious that not just the Igbos were tired of Nigeria, even their own political leaders, they were done too. So what happened? They decided to conduct a referendum. At the time, they didn't need anybody to give them permission to conduct a referendum. It was a regional government. It was a region independent of their own. So when they conducted their own referendum, January or so, 1966, September or so of 1966, it was obvious that the regional government of Eastern Nigeria received the mandate of the people to push for referendum. It was time to notify the rest of Nigeria, we want to leave. And this is the result. For those of you who were taught in your history that Ojukwu started a war, Ojukwu didn't start any war. And they have their reason for keeping this so history hidden from you, especially those of you young generation, doctored and the rest. It didn't start any war. It was on that Monday, we are leaving. No, you won't. The conversation started. No, don't go. Please, don't go. Stay. Why do you want to go? Don't go. Leave. No, don't leave and all that. It led them to Aburi in Ghana. And part of the condition then was that, since the coup stopped the regional government at the time, and Gowon was seen as Nigeria president, the overall, and that was unacceptable to the regions at the time. And the only people that reacted were the Easterners. The Easterners were not just the Igbos, by the way. So I think I should correct that too. When they mention Biafra, Biafra is not just the Igbos. At the time, the Biafra, the name Biafra, right, that popped up, suggested by a Niger Delta man today, became something that they adopted. And this was meant to be the entire Eastern Nigeria. There was nothing called Niger Delta at the time. But Nigeria is more divided now. For political reasons, they created the Niger Delta and they've used that as what they call the plug in the realization of that Biafra. And you know the story, by the way. But back then in 1967, the conversation was, okay, you can have that. That's fine, but you don't have to leave. You can maintain your autonomy. We can restore your autonomy. That was what Gowon agreed to in Aburi. Don't go. Okay, don't go. Just let's reinstate your autonomy, which means the Biafrans, the Easterners, they can do anything they want to do on their own without involving Nigeria. that much. It was when they returned back to Nigeria, and Gowon was probably explained to what he actually meant. It's like ceding Nigeria off to the Biafrans. How could you do that? Are you mad? You mad? Are you insane? You went to Aburi to agree that the Biafrans can be on their own, but they don't have to leave. Are you mad? That is the golden, that's the future of Nigeria. That is where the money is. How could you do that? Number one, you are not even president over them, you know that. You don't have any power over them, under this agreement you signed, you have no power over them. They can do anything when, in fact, they will still leave. They will eventually leave with what you just did. That was what led to the war. Retractment of the gentleman agreement that could have saved lives. So Gowon retracted and said, Aburi Accord is non-binding anymore. And Ojukwu was like, on Aburi we stand, on Aburi we stand, on Aburi we stand. No, stand down, no Aburi. And the trade over Biafra started. And you know the rest of the history. Abi, over 5 million Biafrans were slaughtered. The Easterners then. 5 million. They were not slaughtered on the gun battlefield. They were starved. A lot of them were starved. Women, children. The children of those who died in the Biafran war. Some of them they got shipped out of Nigeria. And they were more or less like donated to countries in Africa. You know what? And those countries took them, and today, majority of them are Gambians, Zambians, all these areas that you see children of Biafra doing that. It was the worst thing that ever happened. And all because of what? Resigning on a gentleman agreement that led to the death of all those people. All for what? Just to keep them in Nigeria so that all of us will go to suffer like we are suffering right now. Is that why they kept them in Nigeria? I keep asking myself, like, why did they fight Biafran war? Because they didn't want them to miss out on the greatest Nigeria that was going to happen. Is that why they killed them? To force them to benefit from the greatest Nigeria that they were cooking? Abi what? What's the purpose? Have you ever asked yourselves, like, what can you say is the purpose? The purpose was to keep the commerciality of Nigeria in place. It wasn't to keep Nigeria for Nigerians. Remember that. And that is why if you see any pastor that comes into politics, bringing God into it, he is not a pastor. He is a criminal that knows how to read Bible. If you see any of your imam or your sheikh speaking Larubawa Arabic, trying to bring God, one moment, they don't come. Don't worry. Say I don't freeze. Like I told you, that's how we do this Sunday sermon. I just talk as the Spirit directs, and most of the time the Spirit just take me here. And if you are following me in that spirit, honestly speaking, you will get my message, not the insult that your politically correct sense is gonna pick. As I was saying, If I then see your imam or your afar or your pastor trying to now bring God or your religion teachings into the political schemes, that we know those behind them, we know the consequences of their actions, please don't try and bring God into it. I lose it. That's it. You can't be playing with people's lives and then distracting them with nonsense that has nothing to do with it. You remember when I said that sometimes when they tell you remember when they used to say, "Now God, Ọlọ́run ni olórí, you the human beings, Ọlọ́run ni olórí fún wa." Allah is the one that is always choosing leaders. 1 million people lè sọ pé àwọn fẹ́ ṣe olórí. If Allah did not approve it, they cannot do olórí, they cannot become leaders. We need to pray to God to give us good leaders. I'm like, are you mad ní àfà? Ṣé ń ṣe èrè ní àfà? I'll take parọ́ fún yìí. Anyway, that is Nigeria. Àfà ṣe mad ní pastor, you dey crazy ní. You must be mad, God here. Nobody say you did. I shouldn't be asking. You must be mad, you pastor. What does this have to do with God? Ask yourselves. What could have been the sin that will make God hate Nigeria and Nigerians for 63 years, plus another 80 years, 143 years? Which kind of thing? Now you kidnap the Israelite. Now you put the Israelite for Egypt. Now your generation put Israel. Now your generation betray Eva, be Adam, who are those people? So I said God couldn't be the one choosing leaders, and the country that is so religious to the point that after crude oil, the highest export from Nigeria is religion. No, it's not possible. We must have had a holy person pass through Nigeria, and because of him, they would have forgiven all of us. Then what happened to the forgiveness that Jesus died for us on the cross? They are not matching, they are not mixing. Because they are scam, trying to bring God and Jesus, Allah and Muhammad into the life of criminals who don't give a damn about them. That is a scam. If a pastor is pushing that, is also a scam in my world. When they tell you they are seeing vision, they are seeing this and that, they can go and they can go and blow. So madness. You don't match them together. You chase the real criminals and you give them what they rightly deserve. Choice. A lot of you, Yoruba Lokan, you ignored the obvious. Muslim. You ignored the obvious. And when they are done with all of you, you are probably seeing that when they said Yoruba Lokan, they were not referring to you. They were referring to Sheyi. They were referring to Folashade. They were referring to Remi Wiripe. They were referring to the likes of Dele Alakori. Those are the Yoruba Tokan, not you. When they were doing their Muslim tickets, they were not referring to you, Muslim, your own Muslim. They were referring to the jihadists, the Salafists, and what the other things they call themselves, or you can just call them the terrorists, the chancers, bunch of crook. They enjoy seeing you scream in agony, in violence, internally. You know those ones, they will say internal screaming. You know, I'm going to try and make that face. They say, I'm screaming from inside. Like that. Those who enjoy seeing you in that perpetual agony, whether you are being kidnapped or being bombed to mistress, being shot, made homeless, refugee. It doesn't really matter. As long as you believe the Allah is going to come to your rescue one day, which they know is not coming. God will save us from these people. No, God is not saving you from any goddamn people. If God has anybody to save at all from anybody, it is for God to save you from yourselves, to save you from your choices. Choices you make, political choices. I mean, a lot of you will make some choices about your lives the way you make choices about politics, right? You won't. You are very careful of the people you want to get married to. You are very careful of people you employ in your businesses. You are very careful of places you kind of, you know what I mean? You are careful about all the choices you make. But when it comes to the most important choice in your life, the choice of criminals that will come back and either make or mar your life, you are no longer mostly in your senses. That is when you feel like you have to defend your ethnic. That is when you realize that your religion is most important and you are ready to die. That is the moment you are going to be interested in who is more superior, who is more powerful, who has more leverage, and all the things that are completely opposed to what really matter to you, should matter to you. So when you make those choices, and you turn around and you're like, your marriage is having problem because you've lost your job. Now you're about to get a divorce because, somebody else is already shagging your wife. You can no longer take it in. You are already thinking, maybe you should even hand it. And all those things that happen so fast. Politics, political choices. Suddenly, you that was planning on expansion, you could easily walk into a bank with your reputation and all that. You are doing so well. You have great credit. You have great you could access any facility for your business. You are doing well. Then suddenly, one single criminal policy from these criminals that never created anything. They never created any wealth. All their lives, they've been living off you. And they call themselves your leaders, making bad choices that have made your lives. Then suddenly you are struggling in your business. Suddenly you couldn't access facilities anymore. You couldn't even afford to pay back your own loan. Things are changing so fast, and suddenly you have become the target of the scammers. Those ones that will tell you, some enemies are trying to destroy you. Your enemies are trying to take away your business. Your enemies are trying to blah, 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 blah. In order to milk you further. You didn't know that choice? Political choice, whether you make them or you don't. Suddenly, you are now looking into, hey, Baba, how can I get, any visa to any place? Man, I won't leave this country. Suddenly, the beautiful Nigeria, that beautiful dreams of yours, suddenly they are disappearing just like that. And you think you've not done anything wrong? Of course, you probably didn't do anything wrong. Maybe you just haven't done the right thing enough. Or maybe you didn't do anything at all. Choice. So whether you are APC or you are PDP, whether you are Christian or you are a Muslim, whether you are a Northerner or you are a Southerner, that very important choice of your life, there are a lot of you probably feel like it is a payback time. It is a game. We go show you Arsenal versus Man U. El Clasico. I can't wait to use my PVC to teach Peter Obi a lesson. Hey, see me and my PVC. PVC, tomorrow last song, Ashiwaju to You turn the most important decision of your life into banters, into games, into payback, into clout chasing. A lot of you enjoyed it, didn't you? Oh, you did. Yeah, you did. You made a lot of promises, right? On nothing. From where are they coming from? They are coming from that empty space of your mind that you have failed to fill with the right information. I mean, on your own. Choices. You make choices about everything else. When it comes to the most important one, you don't even understand. There are some of you that will easily attack me because I say, if you want Nigeria to work, at least if you love Nigeria, break it up and save lives. Oh, no, 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 no. Come and break it. Why don't you come here and break it? Look at his mouth. Talking nonsense. Rubbish. This country is going to be great in Jesus' name. Eh? God will put you, blah, blah, all those nonsense, shy anyway. Because there is that empty space in your head, on your mind, that you have failed to fill with the right information. So therefore, you became a lunatic that is trying same thing again and again and expecting a different result. How is that possible? I said, there was never a time Nigeria was created as one country. If you remember the history very, very well, Nigeria did better when everybody was minding their own business. And everything else has been done. Democracy, military, what's the other one? Fidie, what do you call that one? Interim, then military, then civilian, democracy, all within that same forced union, where our differences are now more pronounced than before. So what is the best? To continue to coexist and continue to experiment with people's lives? Or at least go back to what actually worked then. Break this hegemony. Break this contraption. Free the sheepies. You said I am the enemy. But look at how many lives that are being wasted daily just for you to be called a Nigerian. So think about that. So somebody like myself, who has made that choice, even though the owners of Nigeria that forced this union together, it is perfect this way for them, not for you, not for me, and it doesn't matter where you come from in Nigeria. Listen to me. It isn't put together as forced together right now to work for you or me. So how do you make it work for you and me? Is by doing what they've refused to do. Break up the contraption. Let the people take care of their own affairs. That is the only thing they haven't tried. That is the only thing they will never try until you make them. And we will make them. Just give it time. That empty space in your mind needed to be filled with the right information, and you will begin to make the right choices. Not like the ones you are making right now. Because the one you are making right now, if whether you want to admit it or not, the consequences is not limited to your ignorance anymore. It is widespread. As you can see, you had a choice and you clouded it, like turned it into a cloud. Today, you are watching them do the same thing to you all over again. You are looking helpless. You are looking powerless. And there's that space in your mind to those of you who pushed these criminals and continue to defend them against your own lives. You continue to push that there's that space in you. If they ask you to make that choice again or not, a lot of you will still make those choices. You are Nigerians. I know you better. And I'm glad that I am here, knowledgeable enough to remind you, right, what it means when they say elections have consequences. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys are doing the same thing. I mean, you know, good enough for Obasanjo. When Obasanjo came in 1999, Nigeria was in negative. No thanks to these northern criminals in military uniform. Abdul Salami Abubakar, Abacha, Buhari, and the rest of them. Nigeria was in red, negative, minus, over. But the guy tried, he got debt relief. He cleared all the debt of Nigeria. And the guy started saving. Now, that was a man who met Nigeria external reserve at $4.6 billion. Nigeria didn't even have external reserve other than the one they froze when Abacha took power. I think it was on record that Obasanjo met $4.something billion as external reserve. When he left 48 or 40 something billion dollars as external reserve of Nigeria. Left over $20 billion in the excess crude account that he created. That was Obasanjo. And that was the last time Nigeria had a chance of any recovery of anything, like for real, like consistent building on something you can call progress, right? And if it should be like that for a while, no corruption, no nothing, no interruption, maybe Nigeria could have recovered to some extent, at least. But you know how the whole game went. Yaradua came in, set it all back with probes and all that, more corruption, he died. Jonathan came in, made so much money from crude oil, squandered majority of it, like stolen majority of it, and then he made some significant improvement in that same economy until when Buhari came, and that was when Nigeria started this slide into where you are today. You witnessed that. A lot of you witnessed that. You witnessed your uncles, your aunties lost their jobs, lost their businesses under Buhari. And you had a chance and a choice in 2023. And you bungled it. And I'm glad that even today, like I said, that you will do it again and again. I am not in doubt of that. You will do it again and again. But it is also my place to remind you that you will suffer again and again. If you survive, if you are not killed by either of all of this, right? If you survive that, eventually you would have to just exist to suffer it again and again. And there is no amount of reject in Jesus' name. Allah, Allah, Yamusa, Allah, Yamusa, Allah, Allah, Bakari, whatever you want to say. My dear brothers and sisters, your choice have consequences. You know, I have seen farmers, hardworking guys who have suffered great losses under these criminals in Nigeria. They watched all of their sweat, all of their life work, everything, destroyed. Well, they said that the economic, the spending power of the people was to be reduced, and they've done that by now. So The issue the issue now is not just about you trying to have a business. The problem now is that how do you get patronage for those business? Who are those who are going to come and buy those business? And how many of them are going to make up for your customer base in order to say, yeah, I'm actually in business, I'm making profit? How many? Today, a lot of you are waiting for them to say, oh, they want to give you something or what have you, I don't know. In the UK, in 2021, 2022, after this coronavirus, COVID, this and that, changed everything, Russia war and all that, the UK government they had a change of government. Okay. And the moment that government came in, it came in and it met a troubled country where people are panicking on how they are going to make up their bill payment and all that. How are they going to survive or kind of live through this? So politicians who came in, they have to come in and present, like from day one, they have to come in and present what they believe is at least, whether it is going to be temporary solution, here you get, and how they're going to stage it until they work out a final solution that will actually keep everybody in a sort of a stable, economy kind of. In Nigeria, you had Buhari that depleted everything that they made. I shared that with you last night. Depleted everything, right? You witnessed that, and some of you still felt like you are doing anyone, bringing in Tinubu. You witnessed that at least if the real thing was actually done, if the real vote is counted, despite all of the fraud that is reported and recorded, Kolu will not even see third. You see that Kwakwanso? By the time they count Kwakwanso, Kolu will be probably like the last. But to some of you, I actually remember that we were asking them for days. Will you give us the video of the areas Kolu won? At least we have seen videos of PDP, we have seen videos of AMPP, we have seen videos of Labour Party. Where is the video of APC? And it became so scarce, still very much scarce today. These guys couldn't come out to say anything for days, remember? They were waiting for INEC abracadabra. Remember? And these are the same guys who are now out telling you that he won. If any court remove him, there will be anarchy. Anarchy from who? From the people that couldn't elect him. Anyway, the message is mostly for those of them that are still living that lie. Including those of them that kind of always love to say, oh, I regret this. They don't have any regret per se. Because they made those decisions from the empty part of their brains that only take and discharge all the lies and falsehood from these guys. You can't help that. A state of mind where religion, ethnic, tribe matter to them than good governance, good leadership, and the rest of that. You will never be able to change that. But the truth is that, of course, the establishment did it. Okay? Tinubu didn't even have the number. Are you with me? The number to be elected a senator. It was beating blue-black in the same Lagos that they said is the landlord of, without spending a dime, without giving anybody a dime. It was beating blue-black. Where exactly do you think the number came from? Now, since he's been there, to those of you who are currently going through hell right now in Nigeria, Abobakus, to those of you. Now, do you see any kind of connection between somebody that actually have connection with you, that you have anything with to fill your pulse since Tinubu got there? Consequences. Elections have consequences. And I'm not asking you not to keep making your decisions, okay? You should continue making those decisions. I will continue to remind you of their consequences. And if you are alive, if you live long enough, or suffer long enough, right, to see here and have a chance of changing or making any difference, right, you will still have Mayegun right on your face, reminding you elections have consequences. Ladies and gentlemen, to wrap this up on this sermon today, I have a video where, in fact, I have more videos where you see this Niger Republic war. It's already been twisted. They are already saying that a chief of general staff, I've been a chief of army staff, whatever. The guy that got appointed from Southern Kaduna by Tinubu as one of the service chiefs. The clerics, the jihadist cleric in northern Nigeria, they were staging protests. Some of them are already preaching to them, to their followers that it was that guy, because he's a Christian, it was that guy that went to ECOWAS to tell ECOWAS that they should invade the Islamic, the Muslims in the Niger Republic. And guess what? Those are the ones that made it to the social media. You have no idea of how many of them that didn't make it to social media. Niger Republic that Tinubu is about to invade is being blamed on Christians. It's been blamed on Israel. It's been blamed on America too, France as well, but mostly Christians. Now they have already picked their targets. For those who remember Hejirika, what's his name again? Hejirika, I think. It became their target. They said it was killing too much Boko Haram members. It was killing Muslims. That's what they said. And you know how? And what happened to Hejirika? You know what happened to Ebabi? Now they are already picked their target again. This time around, another service chief from Southern Kaduna. I just thought I should tell you. I would have played you the video right now, but don't worry. I'll show that to you some other time. My message this morning is to just have that conscience of yours to keep reminding you. I know that nobody voted for Kolu, but if you are still out there, right, thinking this is a game, enough that people will cry. You go cry for 80 years. You go cry for 10 years. If you are comfortable watching your own family members, the people you love, watch them being destroyed by these same criminals, and then you watch them cry, be my guest, because you're going to be one of the victims soon yourself. And when that time comes, we'll actually have to use you as an example, just like it is now. I will see you some other time, ladies and gentlemen, when I am going to share more data, kind of like that with you, okay? So thank you for coming to my TED Talk this Sunday sermon, okay? I'll see you again, and good night. Good afternoon.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Mayegun dayari politico. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
lórí Facebook
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
lórí YouTube
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
ijó ìgbádìyẹ
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
gómìnà gbówó jẹ
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
ọlọ́pàá tí ń gba rìbá
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o àyè.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
ha kì máa yí ṣe eré.